The news traveled faster than light itself. Through quantum communication networks across the galaxy, the story spread like wildfire. A single human ship had destroyed an entire hegemony patrol fleet, species that had not spoken of rebellion for centuries suddenly whispered the forbidden word, freedom on. The mining world of Kepler 442b. The Vraxian workers stopped their drilling machines. The alien overseers had always told them that resistance was impossible, that the hegemony fleets would crush any uprising before it could begin. But if humans could fight and win, maybe the stories were lies. Torkan was an old Vraxian who had worked the deep mines for 40 years. His purple skin was scarred from industrial accidents, and his arms ached constantly from lifting heavy equipment. He had given up hope of ever seeing his home planet again, until the day the broadcasts arrived. He gathered the other workers in the abandoned mine shaft, where the overseers could not hear them. His voice was rough from breathing toxic dust, but his words carried clearly in the cavern. Brothers and sisters, he said, the humans have shown us something we forgot. We are not slaves. We do not have to accept this life of digging in the dark while others profit from our labor. The younger Vraxians were excited but scared. What can we do, Torkan? The hegemony has weapons and ships, we have only mining tools. Torkan smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Mining tools can become weapons, brothers. The humans fought with metal rods fired from railguns. We have metal rods, we have electromagnetic launchers for moving ore. Maybe we have more than we think. Meanwhile, in space, the Iron Phoenix raced between star systems using hyperspace jumps that confused and frustrated their pursuers. Captain Daeho stood in the ship laboratory watching his daughter work, Dr. Yonseo. Kim had been analyzing data from their battle with the alien patrol fleet. "What have you learned?" he asked. Yonseo looked up from her computer screens. Her eyes were bright with discovery. "Father, the aliens are not as advanced as we thought. They are just older. Their technology has not changed in centuries, maybe thousands of years." She pulled up holographic displays showing alien ship designs and weapon systems. "Look at these patterns. Everything follows the same basic principles. Energy shields, plasma weapons, artificial gravity. Their ships are beautiful, but they are also predictable." Daeho studied the information. "What does that mean for us? It means they have forgotten how to innovate?" Yeon-seo explained. "When a civilization becomes dominant, they stop learning. They stop growing. They become rigid. Every alien ship we face will use the same tactics, the same weapons, the same defenses. But we are different." She continued. "Human technology improves constantly. We adapt. We change. We learn from every fight. The aliens have been fighting the same way for so long. They cannot imagine any other approach." The communication system activated, and Communications Officer A-Ra Shin appeared on the screen. "Captain, we are receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Rebellion movements are activating on dozens of worlds. They are asking for our help." Daeho felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. They had wanted to show that humans would not be bullied. Now they had inspired others to fight. But rebellions needed more than inspiration. They needed weapons and training and leadership commanders so young. Lee joined them in the laboratory. She carried a data pad with tactical reports. "Sir, our intelligence network reports. Hegemony forces are being stretched thin. Uprisings on 47 worlds. Trade route disruptions, supply line attacks. The aliens are losing control on the industrial world of Gliesa 667c. The insectoid Klaxari had lived under hegemony rule for 800 years. Their hive cities produced the electronics and computers that kept alien civilization running. They had accepted their role as workers and never questioned the system. But the Queen Mother of Hive Complex 7 had been listening to the forbidden broadcasts. Her compound eyes reflected the glow of hidden communication equipment as she processed the implications of human defiance. "We have been told that resistance brings only death." She communicated to her worker drones through pheromone signals, but perhaps death in battle is better than slow death from overwork. The Klaxari workers had advantages, the hegemony. Overseers had forgotten. They could communicate instantly across vast distances through chemical signals. They could coordinate actions with perfect timing. They could work together like a single organism with millions of parts. When the uprising began, it happened simultaneously in every hive city across the planet. Klaxari workers stopped producing alien technology and started dismantling the factories. The few hegemony supervisors found themselves surrounded by millions of angry insects. Armed with industrial equipment, Admiral Zekrath received reports of the Klaxari rebellion while his flagship searched for the Iron Phoenix. The loss of their electronics manufacturing would cripple hegemony operations across 3 sectors. But worse news was arriving hourly. Sir, another aide reported the Vraxian mining colonies have stopped ore shipments. The aquatic cities of Tau Ceti have severed communication links. The crystalline entities of Wolf 359 are no longer responding to our transmissions. How many systems are in revolt? He demanded. The aide checked his display, confirmed rebellions in 47 systems, suspected coordinated resistance in 30 more, unconfirmed reports of uprising activity in over 100 additional. World Zekrath felt something he had not experienced in 2 centuries of military service. Fear. The hegemony had controlled the galaxy through superior technology and the threat of overwhelming force. But that control depended on most species accepting their subjugation willingly. If every world rebelled simultaneously, even the hegemony fleet could not be everywhere at once. They would have to choose which rebellions to crush and which to ignore. And every successful rebellion would inspire 10 more. The Iron Phoenix crew monitored these developments as they jumped between systems. Navigator Yunji Cho had plotted a course that took them through regions where rebellion was strongest. They were becoming more than just a warship. They were becoming a symbol of hope. Dr. Yeon-seo Kim worked continuously in her laboratory studying alien technology and developing countermeasures. She had discovered something that excited her more than any scientific breakthrough. The aliens had grown complacent. Their defenses were designed to fight other aliens, not creative and unpredictable. Humans. Chief Weapons Officer Jin-Woo Park joined her research sessions, learning how to modify human weapons for maximum effectiveness against alien shields and armor. Together they developed new ammunition types, new targeting systems, new tactical approaches. "We are not just fighting one battle," he told her. "We are teaching the galaxy how to fight back. Every engagement shows other species what is possible. Every victory proves the hegemony can be defeated." The ripple effect continued spreading. Communications Officer A-Ra Shin intercepted thousands of transmissions from rebel groups sharing information, coordinating attacks, planning joint operations. Species that had been isolated for centuries were talking to each other for the first time. Captain Daeho realized they had achieved something beyond their original mission. They had not just defied Galactic Council law. They had shattered the psychological foundations of hegemony control. The belief that resistance was impossible was crumbling, but with success came new dangers. Admiral Zekrath was no longer just hunting one rogue human ship. He was fighting to preserve the entire hegemony system, and desperate enemies were the most dangerous. Commander. So Young Lee brought him the latest intelligence reports. Sir, long-range sensors detect massive fleet movements. The hegemony is recalling ships from every sector. They are assembling something we have never seen before. Daeho studied the data. The alien response was larger than they had anticipated, but it was also exactly what they had hoped for. Every ship recalled to hunt the Iron Phoenix was a ship that could not suppress a rebellion. Every fleet chasing them was a fleet that could not maintain hegemony control. "Let them come," he said. "We have shown the galaxy that they can be beaten. Now we will show them how." The Iron Phoenix continued its journey through space, carrying more than weapons and warriors. It carried the hopes and dreams of billions of oppressed beings. The galaxy would never be the same. On 1,000 worlds, former slaves looked up at the stars and whispered the same word: freedom. And somewhere in the darkness, between the stars, a single human ship raced toward its destiny, knowing that the real battle was just beginning. Captain Dae-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Iron Phoenix and looked out at the stars. His hands were shaking, but not from fear, from excitement, from anger, from the knowledge that today would change everything for humanity forever. The metal deck under his boots hummed with power as the massive ship prepared for launch. The bridge was dark except for the glow of computer screens. His crew of 12 officers worked quietly at their stations. They all knew what this moment meant. They all knew they might die today, but they also knew that staying silent would kill humanity slowly over many years. The Galactic Council had sent their message to Earth 6 months ago. The message was simple and clear. Humans were too dangerous to be allowed to expand beyond their solar system. No more colonies, no more exploration ships, and definitely no more warships. Earth was to become a prison with invisible bars that stretched to the edge of their sun day. Ho remembered the day the message arrived. He was a young captain then, commanding a small exploration vessel near Mars. The alien ships appeared without warning. Huge and beautiful like living things made of metal and light. They did not attack, they simply delivered their message and left. But their meaning was clear: obey or be destroyed, Commander. So Young Lee approached him with a data pad in her hands. She was his second in command and had served with him for 8 years. She had short black hair and serious eyes that never missed. Anything important? Her voice was quiet but steady when she spoke. Captain. The final systems check is complete. All weapons are online. All engines are ready. The crew is at battle stations. We can launch in 5 minutes. Dae-ho nodded and took the data pad. The Iron Phoenix was not like other human ships. It was not built for exploration or trade. It was built for war. Every piece of metal, every wire, every bolt was designed with one purpose: to fight and win against impossible odds. The ship was 3 kilometers long and shaped like a giant arrow. Its hull was made of the strongest materials Earth could create, covered in armor plating that could stop energy weapons and kinetic projectiles. The front of the ship bristled with railguns, plasma, cannons, and missile tubes. The back held the most powerful engines humanity had ever built. Admiral Hye-jin Park appeared on the main screen. Her face was tired but determined. She had been fighting the council decision in meetings and negotiations for months. When words failed, she had authorized this secret mission. Her gray hair was pulled back, and her uniform was perfectly clean despite the stress she had been under Dae-ho. She said, her voice coming through the speakers clearly, "The moment you light those engines, every alien fleet in this sector will come hunting for you. They have ships we have never seen, weapons we cannot imagine. Are you ready for this?" He looked around the bridge at his crew. Chief Weapons Officer Jin-woo Park was checking his targeting systems for the 10th time. Navigator Yoon-ji Cho was plotting escape routes through hyperspace communications. Officer A-Ra Shin was monitoring alien transmissions. Dr. Yeon Seo Kim was in the medical bay preparing for casualties. These people had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might never see Earth again. They had families, friends, loved ones waiting at home. But they also understood that sometimes people had to risk everything to protect what mattered. "Most Admiral," he said, looking directly at the screen, "we have been preparing for this day since the Council first told us to stop. We know the risks, we accept them. If we do not fight now, our children will never have the chance to see the stars." The screen flickered and changed, showing a tactical display of local space. Red dots marked the positions of alien patrol ships. They were moving to surround the Iron Phoenix, cutting off escape routes. The aliens knew something was happening. They just did not know what. Commander Lee stepped closer to Daeho and spoke softly, so only he could hear. Sir, our intelligence reports say the alien ships use energy shields and plasma weapons. They have never fought against kinetic weapons like our railguns. They do not expect us to use nuclear missiles or electromagnetic pulse bombs. Daeho smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who knew he was about to do something that would either save his species or damn them all. The aliens had made one critical mistake. They thought humans would behave like every other species they had conquered. They thought humans would surrender when faced with superior numbers. The communication system crackled to life. An alien voice spoke in perfect English, though the accent was strange and musical. This is Commander Veltar of the Hegemony Navy. Human vessel, you are in violation of Galactic Council Resolution 774. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in your destruction. Daeho walked to the communication station and pressed the transmit button. His voice was calm and clear when he replied, "This is Captain Daeho, Kim of the Earth vessel, Iron Phoenix. We reject your authority. We reject your laws. We are leaving this system and you cannot stop us." The alien commander responded immediately. "Humans, you do not understand the consequences of defying the Council. Your species will be quarantined forever. Your world will be blockaded until you submit." That was exactly what Daeho wanted to hear. He needed the aliens to reveal their true intentions to threaten Earth itself. Now he had proof that the Council never intended to let humanity develop peacefully. They wanted humans to remain weak and isolated forever. He turned to his crew, and his voice carried to every corner of the bridge. "You heard them. They want to cage us like animals. They want our children to grow up, never knowing what lies beyond our sun. Are we going to let them?" The bridge erupted in shouts of no and never. The crew had spent months preparing for this moment. They had trained for impossible battles, studied alien technology, and prepared themselves mentally for what was coming. Chief Weapons Officer Jin Woo called out from his station. "Captain, I have target locks on 6 alien ships. Their formation suggests they plan to disable our engines and board us. They are not expecting a fight navigator." Yunji added, "Jump coordinates are programmed. We can escape to hyperspace." In 30 seconds, once the engines reach full power, Dr. Yeonseo called from the medical bay over the comm system. "All medical stations are ready for combat casualties. Emergency surgery equipment is online." Daeho placed his hand on the launch control panel. The metal was warm under his palm. This single button would start a war that might spread across the galaxy, but it would also prove that humans would not be slaves to anyone. "All stations report ready for combat launch," he announced. The responses came quickly. "Weapons ready, navigation ready, medical ready, engineering ready, communications ready." Daeho looked one last time at the tactical display. The alien ships were moving closer, their weapons charging for what they thought would be an easy capture. They had no idea they were about to face something the galaxy had never seen before. Human determination backed by human weapons designed for total war. He pressed the button. The Iron Phoenix erupted with light and fury as her engines ignited. Nuclear fire pushed the massive ship forward at acceleration that would have crushed any alien crew. But humans were different. Humans had evolved on a heavy world under a harsh sun. They were stronger than they looked, tougher than they seemed. The ship shot toward the alien formation like a spear thrown by an angry god. The aliens had seconds to react, and they wasted those seconds in shock and disbelief. No species had ever attacked a hegemony patrol. No one had ever been foolish enough to fight back. That was their first mistake about humanity. It would not be their last, as the Iron Phoenix closed the distance to the alien ships. Daeho gave the order that would echo through history: "Fire all weapons." The first railgun shot from the Iron Phoenix traveled at 30,000 kilometers per second. The tungsten rod weighed only 10 kilograms, but it hit the lead alien cruiser with the force of a nuclear bomb. The beautiful curved hull of the hegemony ship crumpled like paper. The explosion lit up space like a new star commander. Veltar felt his ship shake around him, his elegant bridge filled with smoke and sparks. The artificial gravity failed, and he floated in the air watching his crew panic. Systems that had worked perfectly for centuries were failing all at once. His weapons officer was screaming something about impossible energy readings. "What just happened?" he demanded, but no one could answer him. The humans had fired some kind of kinetic weapon, but the impact energy was beyond anything in their databases. His shields had been designed to deflect energy beams and absorb plasma blasts. They were useless against solid projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. On the Iron Phoenix, Chief Weapons Officer Jinwoo Park watched his targeting display with satisfaction. "Direct hit on their command ship," he reported. "Their shields did not even slow down our projectile reloading railgun batteries." Now Captain Daeho felt a moment of fierce joy. The aliens had expected humans to use the same weapons as everyone else. Energy beams that could be deflected, plasma bolts that could be absorbed, missiles that could be intercepted. But humans had learned to fight each other for thousands of years. They knew how to kill efficiently. "Fire all tubes," he ordered. "Launch everything we have." The Iron Phoenix unleashed hell. The massive ship carried weapons that no alien military had ever encountered, nuclear-tipped missiles that exploded inside, enemy shields, electromagnetic pulse bombs that fried electronics, kinetic kill vehicles that punched through armor like bullets through cloth. The alien formation tried to respond, but they were facing something they had no training for. Human weapons were not elegant or efficient. They were brutal and overwhelming. The aliens had spent centuries fighting civilized wars with rules and honor. Humans had never learned to fight. Fair Commander Veltar watched 3 more of his ships die in as many seconds. The human vessel was not trying to disable or capture. It was trying to destroy everything in sight. His communications officer managed to establish a link to Hegemony Command just as another explosion rocked their ship. "This is Commander Veltar of Patrol Group 7. He transmitted. "We are under attack by the human vessel. Repeat, we are under attack. They are using weapons we have never encountered before. Request immediate reinforcements." The response came back immediately. "Veltar, you are ordered to disable and capture the human ship. Do not destroy it. We need to study their technology." Veltar laughed bitterly as another of his ships exploded. There would be nothing left to study. The humans were not interested in being captured. They were fighting like cornered animals with nothing left to lose. Navigator Yunji Cho called out from her station on the Iron Phoenix. "Captain, hyperspace jump is ready. We can escape in 15 seconds. "Not yet," Daeho replied. "I want to make sure they understand what just happened here." He opened a communication channel to all the alien ships. "This is Captain Kim of the Iron Phoenix. You came here to arrest us. You came here thinking we would surrender without a fight. You were wrong." The alien response was immediate. "Human vessel, cease fire immediately and surrender. Your actions are in violation of Galactic Council." "Law Day?" Ho smiled coldly. "Your laws do not apply to us anymore. When you threatened to cage humanity, you declared war. Now, you get to see what humans do in war. We do not surrender. We do not retreat. We fight until we win, or die." The Iron Phoenix continued its devastating attack. Each shot from the railguns destroyed another alien ship. The nuclear missiles turned their graceful hulls into expanding clouds of radioactive gas. The electromagnetic pulse bombs left them drifting helplessly in space. Dr. Yeonseo Kim worked frantically in her laboratory as the battle raged around her. She had been studying captured alien technology for years looking for weaknesses. Now she was seeing those weaknesses exploited in real time. The aliens had advanced technology, but it was old technology refined over centuries into predictable patterns. Commander Veltar made a final desperate attempt to save his remaining ships. All vessels concentrate fire on the human ship. Use maximum power. The alien energy weapons reached across space in beautiful streams of colored light. They struck the Iron Phoenix with enough power to level a city. But the human ship had been built to withstand nuclear war. Its armor was layers of exotic materials designed to absorb and disperse energy. The alien weapons scorched the hull, but did not penetrate. Jin Woo. Park laughed as his damage. Reports came in minimal damage to outer hull armor. He reported, "Their energy weapons are powerful, but not focused enough to penetrate our defenses. They are used to fighting ships with energy shields, not solid armor." The tide of battle turned completely. The aliens had thrown their best weapons at the Iron Phoenix and barely scratched the paint. Now the human ship closed distance for the killing blow. The railguns fired continuously, turning the remaining alien vessels into scrap metal. Commander Veltar felt his ship dying around him. Emergency power was failing. Life support was shutting down. His crew was preparing to abandon ship, but he had one last duty to perform. He opened a final transmission to Hegemony Command. "This is Veltar. The humans do not fight like any species we have encountered. They do not try to disable or capture. They just destroy everything in their path. Their weapons are primitive but devastatingly effective. Send everything you have, because nothing less will stop them." The transmission cut off as his ship finally succumbed to damage. The command bridge exploded in a ball of superheated gas. Commander Veltar died, knowing he had witnessed something that would change galactic history on the Iron Phoenix. The crew watched the last alien ship drift away, powerless and burning. Navigator Yunji looked up from her console. "All enemy vessels destroyed or disabled, Captain." "No survivors detected," Daeho nodded grimly. He took no pleasure in killing, but he understood the necessity. The aliens needed to learn that humans would not be bullied. The galaxy needed to see that the hegemony could be defeated. Communications officer Ara Shin reported, "Captain, I am detecting multiple hyperspace signatures. Alien reinforcements are jumping into the system. We have maybe 10 minutes before they arrive. All the battle damage to enemy ships," he ordered. "Make sure they can see what human weapons do to their finest vessels. Then get us out of here." The Iron Phoenix began broadcasting images of the destroyed alien fleet. The elegant hegemony cruisers were now twisted wreckage floating in space. The message was clear. This is what happens when you threaten humanity. Yunji activated the hyperspace drive. The massive ship disappeared in a flash of exotic energy, leaving behind only wreckage and a warning. The aliens who arrived to investigate found no trace of the Iron Phoenix, but they found something more disturbing, the destroyed patrol fleet told. A story that terrified hegemony. Command 6, advanced cruisers, had been destroyed by a single human vessel. The humans had not tried to negotiate or surrender. They had simply attacked with weapons that bypassed every defense the aliens possessed. Admiral Zekrath studied the battle reports from his flagship deep in hegemony space. The destruction was total. The human ship had fought with a savagery that shocked even veteran military commanders. But what worried him most was the tactical analysis, i.e., humans had not gotten lucky. They had planned this battle carefully. Their weapons were specifically designed to counter alien defenses. Their armor was built to resist alien weapons. They had been preparing for war while pretending to negotiate. He opened a communication to the Hegemony High Council. "This human ship is not just a rogue vessel," he reported. "It represents a new kind of warfare, something we have never faced before. They do not follow the accepted rules of galactic conflict." The council response was swift. "Find them and destroy them before they can inspire others." But Admiral Zekrath wondered if it was already too late. The news of the battle was spreading through hyperspace communication networks. Species that had submitted to hegemony rule for centuries were hearing that someone had finally fought back and won on distant worlds. Rebellion leaders who had given up hope suddenly found new courage. If humans could defeat a hegemony patrol fleet, maybe other species could fight back too. Maybe the age of hegemony dominance was coming to an end. The Iron Phoenix jumped through hyperspace carrying more than just its crew. It carried the spark of revolution that would soon ignite the entire galaxy. Admiral Zekrath had commanded hegemony forces for 237 years. He had conquered 12 species and brought 46 star systems under alien control. He had never lost a battle, never failed a mission, never encountered an enemy he could not defeat. But the human ship was different. The Iron Phoenix seemed to know where his fleets would be before he did. Every trap he set they avoided. Every ambush he planned, they turned into a disaster for his own forces. It was becoming personal, and his personal obsession was costing the hegemony control over entire sectors of the galaxy. His flagship, the Eternal Dominion, was the largest warship ever built by the hegemony, 5 kilometers long and bristling with the most advanced weapons available. But size and power meant nothing if he could not catch his target. The humans were making him look like a fool admiral. He said to his tactical officer, "Show me the human ship movement patterns again." The holographic display lit up, with star charts showing the Iron Phoenix route through space. The human vessel had visited 17 systems in the past month. Sometimes they stopped to resupply from rebel bases. Sometimes they attacked hegemony installations. Sometimes they simply broadcast messages encouraging resistance. But there was no pattern Zekrath could understand, no logic to their movements, no strategic objective he could predict. Human behavior was chaotic, unpredictable, maddening. It went against everything he had learned about warfare in over 2 centuries of combat. Meanwhile, in the engine room of the Iron Phoenix, Chief Engineer Minho Jung was working miracles. The ship had been designed for a crew of 500, but they were running with 300. And pushing every system far beyond its original specifications. The engines that should have failed months ago were running hotter and faster than ever. Captain Deho found him welding a power coupling that should have been replaced at a shipyard. The engine room was filled with the smell of ozone and hot metal. Minho looked up from his work with a grin that showed his confidence. "Sir," he said, "the engines are running at 140% of rated capacity. The hyperspace drive is cycling 3 times faster than the manufacturer intended, and somehow we are getting more efficient, not less." "How is that possible?" Deho asked. Minho set down his welding torch. "Because we are not following the rules, sir, the alien technology. Manuals say you cannot do this or that, but humans have always been good at ignoring what cannot be done. We make it work anyway." The communication system activated and Communications Officer A-Ra Shin appeared on the screen. "Captain, we have a priority. Message from Earth. Admiral Park wants to speak with you immediately." Dae-Ho hurried to the bridge where Admiral Hai-Jin Park appeared on the main viewer. Her face was grim and tired. She had been coordinating the defense of Earth while managing diplomatic crises across human space. "Dae-Ho," she said, "the Hegemony Council has made a decision. If they cannot capture the Iron Phoenix, they will make an example of Earth. They are assembling the Grand Fleet." The bridge fell silent. The Grand Fleet was a legend, something the Hegemony had never used because they had never needed it. Warships from every major species in the galaxy united under single command. It had been built to fight wars between galactic civilizations, not hunt single ships. "How long do we have?" he asked. 3 months, Park replied. "Maybe 4. If we are lucky, they are pulling ships from across the galaxy. It will be the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Commander So Young." Lee stepped forward. "Sir, if they are concentrating their forces to attack Earth, that means they are leaving their other territories weakly defended." "Exactly." Daeho realized the hegemony was making the same mistake every empire eventually made. They were overreacting. They were committing everything to one battle instead of maintaining their overall control. Dr. Yan Seo Kim joined them from her laboratory. "Father, I have been analyzing the intelligence reports. The hegemony fleet movements are creating opportunities we never expected." Activated a holographic star map showing fleet positions across the galaxy. "Look at this. Every ship they recall to the Grand Fleet is a system left undefended. Every patrol they reassign is a trade route left open. Every garrison they move is a planet ready for liberation." Navigator Yunji Cho looked up from her station. "Captain, if we could coordinate with the rebel networks, we could time simultaneous uprisings for when the Grand Fleet leaves for Earth." Chief Weapons Officer Jinwoo Park added. "And if we could draw some of those ships away from Earth by hitting high-value targets, they might split their forces." The plan began forming in Daeho's mind. They were no longer just running from the hegemony. They were leading them into a trap. The aliens thought they were hunting one ship, but they were actually walking into a galaxy-wide rebellion. Admiral Zek Rath received the orders for the Grand Fleet Assembly with mixed feelings. On one hand, he would finally have the resources needed to destroy the Iron Phoenix. On the other hand, pulling ships from every sector meant abandoning territories that had been under hegemony control for centuries. His aide approached with another report. "Sir, the rebel attacks are increasing. They seem to know exactly which systems we are leaving undefended." Of course they do. Zekrath realized the humans are not just running randomly. They are gathering intelligence. They are coordinating with the rebels. They are turning our pursuit into their weapon. The Iron Phoenix emerged from hyperspace near the industrial world of Proxima Centauri b. The planet was a major manufacturing center for hegemony military equipment. But intelligence reports said the defenses had been reduced to make ships available for the Grand Fleet. Jinwoo studied his targeting displays. "The orbital shipyards are lightly defended, Sur-2 patrol boats and some automated defense platforms. Nothing that can threaten US-AERA intercepted communications from the planet. Surface. Captain, the human colonists are ready. They have been waiting for our signal. The attack was swift and devastating. The Iron Phoenix destroyed the orbital defenses in minutes, while human colonists on the surface seized control of the manufacturing facilities. Within hours, they had converted military production from hegemony warships to weapons for the rebellion. But more importantly, they had sent a message. The hegemony could not protect their most valuable assets while chasing one ship. The Grand Fleet was leaving the Empire. Defenseless, Admiral Zek Rath felt his carefully planned strategy crumbling. Every success against rebel targets cost him ships he needed for the Grand Fleet. Every ship he kept for the Grand Fleet was a system he could not defend. The humans had turned his strength into his weakness. The pursuit continued across the galaxy, but the roles had reversed. The Iron Phoenix was no longer running from the hegemony fleet. The hegemony fleet was chasing the Iron Phoenix into one disaster after another. Chief Engineer Minho Jung had modified the ship engines to jump faster and farther than any alien vessel could follow. They would appear in a system, destroy key targets, coordinate with rebels, and disappear before reinforcements could arrive. Dr. Yan Seo Kim had developed new weapons specifically designed to counter alien technology. Each engagement taught them more about hegemony weaknesses. Each battle made them more effective commander. So Young, Lee coordinated with rebel networks across the galaxy, turning random uprisings into coordinated military campaigns. The rebellion was becoming an army navigator. Yunji Cho plotted courses that maximized damage while minimizing risk. They hit supply depots, communication centers, shipyards, and command posts, always staying one step ahead of their pursuers. Communications Officer A-Ra Shin monitored alien transmissions and detected something that excited the entire crew. The hegemony military was arguing among themselves. Some wanted to continue hunting the Iron Phoenix. Others wanted to abandon the chase and restore order to their territories. The unity that had held the Galactic Empire together for centuries was beginning to crack. Species that had fought each other before joining the hegemony were starting to remember old grudges. The stress of the rebellion was revealing the Empire weak points. Captain Day-Ho stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak past as they jumped to their next target. They had traveled farther from Earth than any human had ever gone. They had fought battles in star systems whose names did not exist in human languages, but they were no longer alone. Rebel fleets now joined them in some battles. Species that had never cooperated before were working together against their common enemy. The Iron Phoenix had become the flagship of a galactic revolution. Admiral Zekrath finally realized what the humans had done. They had not been running from his superior forces. They had been leading him away from the territories he needed to control. They had turned his pursuit into their recruiting campaign. Every world that saw the Iron Phoenix escape from impossible odds gained hope. Every species that watched hegemony forces failed to capture one ship began to believe resistance was possible. The hunt had become a demonstration of hegemony weakness, but Zekrath had one final card to play. The Grand Fleet was almost ready. The largest military force in Galactic. History would soon converge on Earth, and when it did, he would end the human threat forever, unless the humans had one more surprise waiting for him. Admiral Hee-Jin Park stood in the Earth Defense Command Center, watching the most terrifying sight in human history. The Grand Fleet was assembling just beyond the orbit of Pluto. Thousands of alien warships from every corner of the galaxy united, for one purpose, the complete destruction of humanity. The holographic display showed ships of every size and design, hegemony battlecruisers like floating cities, Vraxian assault carriers bristling with fighters, Klaxari swarm ships that moved like living things, crystal entities that bent space around them. It was beautiful and deadly beyond imagination. "Admiral," she said to her aide, "how long until they reach Earth?" 18 hours, came the reply, unless something changes their course. Park nodded grimly. 18 hours to prepare for the end of everything humans had built. The orbital defense platforms were strong, but not strong enough. The Earth fleet was brave, but hopelessly outnumbered. If the Iron Phoenix did not return soon, there would be no Earth left to return to. Light years away, the Iron Phoenix received the same intelligence through rebel communication networks. Captain Day-Ho stood on his bridge surrounded by his senior officers, studying the tactical display that showed their home world facing extinction. The crew was silent. Everyone understood what they were seeing. The Grand Fleet represented the combined military might of dozens of species accumulated over thousands of years. No single planet could withstand that level of destruction. Sir Navigator Yoonji Cho spoke quietly, even at maximum hyperspace speed. "We cannot reach Earth before the Grand Fleet attacks, Commander," So-Young Lee added. "And even if we could, one ship cannot fight thousands. The Grand Fleet would destroy us." "And Earth, Dr. Yonseo?" Kim looked up from her data pad. "Father, I have been analyzing the Grand Fleet composition, and I found something interesting." She activated a holographic display showing the massive alien formation. "Look at their coordination requirements, ships from different species, using different technologies, different communication protocols, different tactical doctrines. What are you suggesting?" Day-Ho asked. "Their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness," she explained. "They have never worked together like this before. They have no experience coordinating such a massive mixed fleet. If we could disrupt their command structure even briefly, it might create chaos." Chief Weapons Officer Jin-Woo Park studied the intelligence data. "The command ship is in the center of the formation, protected by layers of escorts. Getting close enough to attack it would be suicide," maybe Yonseo said. "But what if we did not attack the command ship directly? What if we attacked The coordination system itself, she pulled up technical specifications for hegemony communication networks. The entire Grand Fleet is coordinated through quantum entanglement communicators based on Nexus Prime. If we could overload that system, they would lose the ability to coordinate. Attack's chief engineer Minho Jung joined the discussion. How do we overload a quantum communication system from here? We do not, Yonseo replied. We go to Nexus Prime itself. The bridge fell silent. Nexus Prime was the capital of the hegemony, located at the center of their territory. It was protected by orbital fortresses, energy barriers, and the most advanced defense systems in the galaxy. No one had ever successfully attacked it. That is insane, So Young said. Even if we could reach Nexus Prime, the defenses would destroy us before we got close, unless they are not expecting us, Daeho said slowly. The Grand Fleet took most of their mobile defenses with them. Nexus Prime might be more vulnerable than it has ever been. Communications Officer Ara Shin activated her console. Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the rebel networks. They are reporting the same thing. Hegemony home territories are almost undefended. The plan was desperate beyond belief. Fly to the heart of enemy territory. Attack the most heavily defended installation in the galaxy. Try to cripple their command systems before the Grand Fleet could destroy Earth, all while the enemy knew they were coming. But it was also their only chance. If they failed, Earth would die. If they succeeded, they might save not just humanity, but every oppressed species in the galaxy. Jin Wu ran calculations on his weapon systems. Sir, even if we reach Nexus Prime, our weapons cannot penetrate their primary shields. The station is protected by energy barriers that could deflect the explosion of a Star. Yon SEO smiled. That is true if we attack from outside, but what if we attack from inside? She explained her plan. The Nexus Prime defense. Shields protected against external threats, but they had to allow communication signals to pass through. If they could disguise their ship signature to match a friendly vessel, they might be able to get inside the barrier. Minho shook his head. Even if that worked, the moment we opened fire, they would identify us. The entire defense fleet would converge on our position. Then we make sure the first shot counts. Daeho decided we get one chance to overload their quantum communicators. If we succeed, the Grand Fleet loses coordination. If we fail, at least we die fighting. The Iron Phoenix began its final journey. Not toward Earth, where safety might be found, but toward the heart of enemy territory, where certain death waited. The crew worked with desperate efficiency, preparing for a battle they could not win, but might not need to survive. Yunji plotted the most dangerous hyperspace route of her career. Jumping directly into the hegemony core systems meant passing through patrol zones, defense, networks, and automated weapons platforms. Any mistake would destroy them instantly. Era worked with rebel intelligence networks to obtain current security codes and fleet positions, information that brave aliens were dying to obtain and transmit. Every byte of data was paid for with blood. Jin Wu modified their weapons for maximum damage against the quantum communicator array. They would have minutes, maybe seconds, before the station defenses responded. Everything had to work perfectly. The first time. Minho pushed the ship engines beyond all safety limits. The hyperspace drive was cycling so fast it glowed with dangerous energy, but they needed every bit of speed they could generate. Yonseo prepared the electronic warfare systems. That would disguise their ship signature and confuse enemy sensors. It was theoretical technology that had never been tested in combat, but theory was all they had. So Young coordinated with Earth Defense Command, sending tactical data and contingency plans. If the Iron Phoenix failed, Earth needed to be ready for the Grand Fleet assault. The final message came from Admiral Park on Earth. Daeho. I know what you are planning. I know the odds against success, but I also know that sometimes impossible missions are the only ones worth attempting. Daeho looked at his crew. These people had followed him across the galaxy. They had fought impossible battles and survived against overwhelming odds. Now they were volunteering for certain death to save their homeworld. He opened the ship communication system to address everyone aboard. "This is Captain Kim. We are going to attempt something that has never been done before. We are going to attack Nexus Prime itself." The response from the crew was immediate. Cheers, shouts of determination, voices raised in defiance. Every person aboard the Iron Phoenix knew they were probably going to die, but they also knew their sacrifice might save billions of others. The ship jumped to hyperspace for the last time, racing toward the center of an enemy empire to strike at the heart of their power. It was madness. It was heroic. It was completely human. Admiral Zekrath received the intelligence report while his grand fleet prepared for the final approach to Earth. A single human ship had been detected heading toward Hegemony Core territory, apparently fleeing from the coming battle. He smiled with satisfaction. The humans had finally realized they could not win. They were running home to cower behind their defenses. But it was too late. The Grand Fleet would follow them to Earth and finish what the galaxy should have done centuries ago. But deep in his mind, a small voice whispered a warning. Humans did not run. Humans did not surrender. Humans did something unexpected when cornered. And the most dangerous human ship in the galaxy was heading straight for the one target that could change everything. The Iron Phoenix raced through hyperspace, carrying 300 souls toward their destiny. The final battle was about to begin, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The Iron Phoenix emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Nexus Prime system, and every person on board held their breath. The massive space station hung in the void like a metal moon surrounded by energy shields that glowed with the power of a star. Defense platforms floated in perfect formation. Automated weapons tracked their approach. Navigator Yun-Ji Cho checked her readings. "Sir, the electronic warfare systems are working. Enemy sensors are reading us as the Hegemony Cruiser Eternal." Justice, returning from Patrol Chief Weapons Officer Jin-Woo Park, targeted the quantum communication array at the station core. One shot was all they would get before every weapon in the system turned on them. His targeting computer showed red lock, symbols on the most important target in galactic history. Communications Officer Ara Shin monitored enemy transmissions. "Control Tower is requesting our authorization codes, transmitting the rebel intelligence package now." The minutes passed like hours as the Iron Phoenix approached the station. Their false identity held. The defense systems remained inactive. The energy shields parted to allow them passage into the heart of hegemony. Power Captain Dae Ho watched the massive station grow larger. In the main viewer, millions of beings lived and worked on Nexus Prime. The station was a city in space, the nerve center of an empire that had ruled the galaxy for millennia. Today, that empire would fall. Dr. Yeon-seo Kim worked frantically at her console. "Father, the quantum communicator array is directly ahead. The moment we fire on it, every defense system will activate. We will have perhaps 30 seconds before they destroy us. 30 seconds to change galactic history." Dae Ho thought. It would have to be enough. "All weapons target the communication array," he ordered. "Fire everything we have." The Iron Phoenix unleashed its full arsenal at point-blank range. Nuclear missiles struck the station, superstructure. Railgun projectiles punched through armor plating. Electromagnetic pulse bombs fried electronic systems. The quantum communicator array exploded in a cascade of exotic energy across the galaxy. The Grand Fleet suddenly went silent. Ships that had been moving in perfect coordination began to drift. The complex dance of thousands of vessels from dozens of species dissolved into chaos as their command structure collapsed.